Hi everyone, this is Sagar Shah and today is the end of the first day of the FIDE Grand Swiss 2023 and this is the playing venue. It's quite late in the night, exactly it is 10:16 right now. So the day started at 2:30 and it's been a very long day, 7 hours 40, almost 7.5 hours the day lasted. But let's go over what happened today. There are 20 Indians playing at this event and it is an extremely important event because the top two players will qualify to the candidates. Now, I'm actually walking back to my hotel. So this is basically a recap that I'll try to do every day when I walk back from the venue to my hotel, and just to show you how beautiful this environment is. Check this out. This is the water here, the sea, and also the promenade where I can walk, and this is the playing venue here, and I'm actually walking back to my hotel this way. So my aim is to finish the recap before I reach the hotel. Okay, let's start with the open section. First, the highest board, Raunak Sadhwani took on Anish Giri on board number 4, and I think Raunak played really well. In fact, I think Anish got a very small little advantage out of the opening, but Raunak did not give him any chance as such. Later on in the game, Anish felt that his move B4 really was not the best there, but it was also not so easy to know what was the way in which he should have made progress there. Okay, so that game ended in a draw. Next up is Gukesh, and Gukesh was playing against Rauf Mamedov, and in what was a pretty rare scenario where Gukesh agreed to a draw pretty soon, early on in the game. I think he agreed to a draw quite soon there by repeating. It was a well-known line of the Sicilian, but he got no real advantage or nothing as sort, and knight e8, knight f6, they agreed to a draw. Okay, then next we have the game of Pragnananda, who took on his Indian counterpart Aryan Chopra, and I thought Prag got a very nice edge out of the opening. He exchanged the queens, doubled the pawns, then was slowly pressing, like this moves, f3, just slowly playing this structure, and I thought that Prag would be able to outwit his opponent, but Aryan was very, very solid, and he did not let Prag get away with the full point, and in the end the game ended in a draw. A great result for Aryan, playing with the black pieces, and first time he's playing the Grand Swiss. Next up we had Hari Krishna, who was playing against Cristobal Henriquez, and this was the game that went the distance. 7.5 hours it was played. Hari Krishna really tried very hard. In fact, he was winning on so many occasions. He really played well actually. Hari played so well, but at some point he could have just taken on b5, ab5, bishop f6, and he's just winning. Just the a pawn little queen. But he was just not doing it, and in the end the opponent was really tenacious. He did not give up, and the game ended in a draw. So that was not a good result for Hari Krishna. You could see him, he was very upset. He was shaking his head after the game. It was after such a big long effort, he couldn't get the full point. Vidit Gujarati versus Arvind Lamy, very interesting game. In fact, Vidit played very aggressively. He got an advantage as well at some point, but Arvind was very tenacious. When the move knight g3 was played, it felt like, okay, rook f4, knight h5, and the game will end in a draw perhaps. But then suddenly with it took knight takes b2, completely missing the fact that knight f5 check intermezzo was such a powerful move. He went king h8, now rook takes rook, knight takes d1, and in came this check, rook h4, and I think with it just missed it, because after king g8 there is knight e7 check, and he lost the exchange, and that endgame is lost. So with it lost this, and it's a big blow to with its start at the Grand Swiss, but well, he can make a comeback. Next up we had Arjun Erigaisi, who played really well. Arjun fought very well today, and his last loss in the Qatar Masters, I think he's forgotten it, and he came all guns blazing. He played h4, and then he played some very good moves. I really loved his maneuver king d1 to c2, and then he attacked quite fearlessly. His opponent took that h pawn, which was really very dangerous, and then Arjun sacked his queen, queen takes h6, very pretty there by Arjun, and that finished off his opponent there. So Arjun scoring the first win there for India. Leon actually played quite interesting chess. At some point he was in big trouble against Jordan Van Forest, but in the end the game ended in a draw. I really liked how Jordan actually drew the game by sort of sacrificing his queen for the pawn and then queening his remaining pawn. Iturizaga versus Nihal Sarin. I believe nothing really substantial happened in this game. Both players were not in a very big fighting mood. They repeated the position. The game ended in a draw. Iturizaga was happy there. Abhijit Gupta versus Fedosiev. I believe this was a very big fight. I guess Abhijit was fine, but at some point he did not play well in the rook endgame, and then lost the game against Fedosiev, who's a very experienced player, and Abhijit lost there. We had Karthikeyan Murli draw his game against Jeffrey Jeong after beating Magnus Carlsen. Karthikeyan continues his good form here at the at the Grand Swiss by drawing against the very top USGM Jeffrey Jeong. We had the game between Adiban and Predke, and Adiban's start was not really good. He actually completely missed the move. He played this knight d4, which was terrible because rook e8 came and his knight was sort of trapped. And the point was that even if he removed the knight to c6, bishop d7 was very strong, and he went queen h4, but his opponent played a simple deflecting move g5. The queen is like overloaded, has to leave the defense of one of the knights, and after queen g5 bishop d4 came, and the end was very nice. Bishop f there was bishop f2, queen c2, and f5 was hanging, so Adiban resigned there. SL Narayanan won his game against his opponent Rodriguez Lemox, and Arvind Chithambaram also won his game. This meant that India scored 7 points out of 14 in the open section, exactly half. Well, I wouldn't say the best day as such, but well, it's a start. In the women's section, which is simultaneously being held, Tanya and Harika were pitted against each other, which was very cool because Tanya played this opening very dubiously. This move bishop g5, bishop f6, gf6, her knight went from g4 to e3, and at some point she was utterly lost, and I think Harika wanted clarity, and that was the main issue. She could have just played b4 knight a4, queen d6, and her position was very strong, very strong. Tanya's king was very weak. But she went bishop c3, bc3, and that gave Tanya the much needed opportunity that she needed, and she managed to hold the game to a draw. So that was a very good half point for Tanya, but not so good for Harika. Next up, we had Vaishali versus Keol Basa. I have a feeling that Vaishali is in just phenomenal form. Like, if you see her game, you could already sense a very top GM playing from the white side. That position in the Italian. She played this very nice f takes e3 and then allowing king takes g3. Her king was like out in the open, but it was quite safe. The knight on f5 held things together and she played a beautiful endgame. I really loved how Harika played. So seriously, tremendous chess there by her. Sorry, not Harika, Vaishali. Tremendous chess by Vaishali. Savitha's game was very, very curious because her opponent actually caught her in the opening by playing queen b6. It's well known opening sort of inaccuracy made by Savitha when she went f3. So, I mean, bishop c4, f3, she has to choose the right move order. But the thing is, her opponent played so well, she went queen c5 and knight g4 and got a good position. But Savitha is a big fighter, you know. Savitha is one of those players who never gives up. So she fought till the end, and in the end, her position was slightly better for her. The game was going on, and suddenly her opponent just blundered, allowing rook g4 check, and the game was over. The rook on f8 was hanging. So very good win for Savitha against a higher rated opponent. Next we had Vantika against Kamaladinova. I think Vantika had a big plus position there, but she didn't play well, and in the end she kind of collapsed in that game and she lost against her lower rated opponent. So that was a bit surprising there. Vantika is generally very solid and does not go down so easily, but that's what happened. And finally it was Divya versus Trisha Kanyamarala. Trisha now represents Ireland, and actually Divya played a very good game. She played the Grand Prix attack, and at some point she played this move b4. Very powerful chess by Divya, because if queen takes b4, there is bishop d2. So c takes b4 happened, then she played c5, and she just completely dominated the game. So that was a very good play by Divya there, and she managed to win an exchange and converted it easily. With this, in the women's section, we did very well today. We scored 4 out of 6, which is a good score, more than 50%. And totally we scored 11 out of 20 Indians, which is also more than 50%. Well, I'm hoping that someday we can actually cross the barrier of 15 points, which is not going to be easy. But yeah, I think the tournament is very tough. Top boards, Caruana won, but Nakamura drew, Firuza drew, Anish drew. You know, like everyone was drawing here. It's such a tough tournament with all top GMs facing off each other in the first round itself. But, well, it's not going to be easy. There's 2 candidates, spots are at stake. We will continue our coverage. I have just reached my hotel here. See here, this is the lane in which my hotel is, Edelweiss, and I will now get going there. To everyone who followed this till the very end, if you enjoy such recaps, I will continue doing this every day. For now, this is Sagar Shah signing off, and I'm very proud of Amruta actually. She streamed the entire night. In India it was already 2 AM. So really a big shout out to Amruta for her efforts. By the way, there we see Alexis Sarana walking. This entire town is filled with chess players. You can find them all everywhere. Take care, guys. See you. Bye bye.